Wow, how the time has passed. What is up, YouTube? I am your friendly neighborhood NMan64, and I am bringing you a new project that we'll be working on here on the channel. 10 years ago to this day, January 9th, 2015, I uploaded my first ever LP to the channel. And that was a playthrough of Pokémon FireRed on the Game Boy Advance. Of course, I used the emulated version back then because I had no way of recording off my systems. But in indication and proof of how times have changed, as you can tell, I am recording off my GameCube now, which is interesting. And, which frame do I want to use? Let's use the GameCube frame. I like this one. Alright, we'll lower that. And there you go. So, as this is 10 years ago, we did this as an LP. We're going to do things a little differently this time around. We are going to be playing through this game again, but with something different about it. We're going to be doing a Pokémon FireRed Nuzlocke. Now, for those of you who don't know, a Nuzlocke is considered one of the most standard Pokemon challenges one can possibly take part in. It is relatively challenging, but I don't believe we should have any issues with it because we've done Pokemon challenges before, and I've done personal Nuzlockes on the side before. So I see no reason why this shouldn't go at least reasonably well for us. Now, I don't have to go in depth on what Pokemon are. We've already seen this spiel 100 times from Professor Oak in our lifetimes. So let's just set everything up for ourselves. We'll just go NMan. My name is NMan. Damn right it is. And this guy's my rival. He doesn't look cool enough to be my rival. But we will call him my rival all the same. We'll call him Spud. Because that's what his name is. He's a Spud. He's not dumb. He's not stupid. He's just a Spud. I remember my own grandson's name is Spud. Now, a Pokemon Nuzlocke, for those of you blessed without the knowledge of one, is pretty simple. For starters, when a Pokemon faints, that Pokemon is dead. You cannot use anything else that might benefit you or anything like that. There's no revives in this game matter. Nothing matters. When a Pokemon faints, it is dead, and when you take it back to the Pokemon Center, you have to release it. Because of that, well, yeah, you're doomed. But if you can routinely catch Pokemon and keep your team relatively healthy, you should be good to go. On top of that, there are other alternate rules that have been added for Nuzlockes to make them more challenging. For example, only having access to one wild Pokemon per route. Unless, of course, it's a repeat, in which you're allowed a reroll until you get a new Pokemon you haven't seen before. But if you fail to catch a Pokemon on that route, you cannot catch said Pokemon. The only other rule that I'm personally adding for myself is dependent on my trainer ID. 01342. Alright, that determines what Pokemon I start with. And I'm actually kind of thankful for that because that means I get easy mode in this game. At least relatively easy mode. Which means my playthrough of Pokemon FireRed, this Nuzlocke at least, should go pretty straightforward. First, we gotta make sure Oak comes to us. Oh, why? It's unsafe to go out there without Pokemon. And how the hell does this economy thrive? There's gotta be things in this town that don't involve Pokemon, Oak. But apparently not. What's up, Spud? Alright. So, we get our first starter Pokemon, which is interesting. And since we're apparently the professor's favorite, we get to choose our Pokemon first. However, since it's a Nuzlocke, the rules are simple. As you look here, as I showed you, my trainer ID is 01342. That means if my trainer ID number ends in 1, 2, or 3, I pick Bulbasaur. If it was 4, 5, 6, I'd pick Charmander. If it was 7, 8, 9, I would pick Squirtle. And if it was 0, I would get to choose. But, for argument's sake, I am going to pick Bulbasaur. Him and his cute little Bulba butt will make a fine addition to my team. And because it's my team, and because I always love Bulbasaur, we are going to call him Bulba Butt because he has the bulbiest of butts. That actually is really helpful to us because that means Bulbasaur can use Leech Seed to basically keeping himself alive as long as I need, which is fun. What nature did you give me? Oh, that's problematic. Adamant Nature is a higher physical attack at the expense of special attack, which sucks for Bulbasaur because Bulbasaur's a special attacker, but whatever. Alright, here's our first gut check. Can we beat the rival in our first Nuzlocke battle? I don't know. But for those of you wondering why we're doing this, I think it goes without saying, 10 years of doing this is a pretty long time. Not to mention the fact that, well, I want to have like some sort of project that's constantly on the side, so I don't get bored of editing various other projects and things like that. So I'm not panicking about deadlines and stuff like that. That way I can have a bunch of small projects on the side of stuff that I know what I'm doing in. So if there's something like this, for example, I don't trust our speed, so for the sake of argument, I'm going to use the one potion they gave us early. I do not trust speed ties. I would rather this Nuzlocke not end early. But no, that's pretty much the reason why I wanted to do this. Get myself some breathing room for LPs, so now I have time to edit things, work on other projects, so I'm not worrying about anything. And hell, if this fails early, it fails early. I'm not too big of a jerk about it. It would be very funny though, and very me to have the Nuzlocke end in like friggin' Cerulean City or something. Excellent. If you win, you earn prize money. Blah blah blah. We get it, Oak. This ain't our first rodeo in the Pokemon world. In fact, we just did a very long LP of Pokemon Scarlet, so yeah, we know what we're doing. Since we have Bulbasaur now, we can progress up towards Viridian City, where we have to get Oak's parcel. Yes, we're just gonna rush through this game, like the story points of the game, of what we have to do. And wow, freaking Pidgey right away. Level 5, yeah, let's not say we did. Give me my free potion, please. Thank you, friend. Now, that Pidgey that we encountered does not count as our wild Pokemon encounter because we cannot catch it yet. However, if I could get a level 5 Pidgey that early, that would be really nice. Neither does this one. It only counts when we have the ability to catch Pokemon. But of course, like I said, if you fail a catch, that means you are locked out of that route, which could be very problematic for you. And like I said, I don't want this challenge to be any more problematic than it already might be, considering it's a Nuzlocke, but considering I got Bulbasaur very early in this, I think we'll be okay. Because, like, Bulbasaur obviously has access to Leech Seed and Razor Leaf very early, so we should be okay. Basically, we will make it past Misty. That's the way I'm looking at it. Once we make it past Misty, the rest of that is easy enough. And we got Leech Seed. Perfect. So now we can just leech off of people and keep ourselves healthy. Strategies, guys. Strategies. Alright, we can go to the Pokemon Center to heal ourselves. The Pokemon Center is pretty much going to be our best friend in this playthrough because, my god. We're gonna need to keep some Pokemon alive for once. And honestly, as much as I wanted to do like a fun challenge of like, oh, why don't I do Pokemon Fire Red with like a Growlithe or something, I'm like, nah, I want to play on the hardware itself. So at the very least, it's an authentic playthrough. So I'm not putting cheats in. I'm not doing anything like that. We are playing this right from my old Pokemon Fire Red. And we're just going to do everything we can to make ourselves, you know, good in those regards. The one thing that didn't go our way so far is the fact that Bulbasaur does not have the nature I wanted, but I'm totally fine with that. Of course, I'm pretty sure that also means that we won't have access to any other Pokemon around here, but I digress. As long as a route has different Pokemon from the route you were previously on, I consider that a new route for us to catch Pokemon on. So, yes, this route that we're on right now contains only Rattata and Pidgey, but the route above it also has Caterpie, which means it's a different route. Same with the route that's close to the Pokemon League, which has Spearow and, I almost said Machop, Spearow and Mankey on it. Viridian Forest, of course, yes. Dungeons are a little bit hazier because various floors have various types of Pokemon. I think I'm gonna keep myself to one Pokemon per dungeon. So if you're sitting there hoping and going, oh, maybe you can like do something else. I'm like, yeah, no. As much as I'd like to try to cheese my way through a Nuzlocke, I want to play this as authentically as possible. So the rules are pretty simple. If a Pokemon faints, it dies, and we have to automatically release it into heaven. Only one Pokemon per route, and we had to start with Bulbasaur because, well, that's just the way things go. Alright, so now let's get our Pokedex. After we deliver Oak's parcel. And have him give both of us our walking papers. We're getting kicked out of our homes. So we can go do Professor Oak's job for him by completing the Pokedex. And now our catching story actually begins. But Bulbasaur actually really helps me because now we actually have access to like the status inflicting moves and I don't have to keep like a Butterfree around to worry about anything. I mean, doesn't really matter. I'll grab the map anyway. I know Kanto like the back of my hand, but still. At least I know that at least I know that Spud's sister is like not playing favorites with us. I can take that. Alright, so I do have a bit of a strategy. Let's see if it works. It did not work. Shit, that sucks. I was hoping for Rattata on this first route so I could like basically guarantee myself either Spearow or Mankey on that route next to the Pokemon League, but I didn't get lucky, so I'm guessing that's a harbinger of things to come. But nevertheless, welcome to the Team Pidgey, assuming I can catch you. You'll be pretty useful, at least eventually. You gotta learn some good flying type moves though. And I think I'm stuck with just Gust until it learns Wing Attack in like the 20s. Oh, also, all Pokemon you use in this game have to have a nickname, so yeah. We're gonna name this. We have to name all of our Pokemon, so, Yago. Alright, Yago, join the team. I would throw you into the line of fire right now, but, unfortunately, you are level 3, and we can run into prospective level 5 Pokemon here, so let's not say we... Dude. Go take a shower. You smell, NPC. I was hopeful we could get a Rattata on this route, but unfortunately we failed. And since Rattata is the more common Pokemon on the other route, I think we're in trouble. I think I'll have to settle for Rattata. I was hoping to get Spearow or Mankey, preferably Mankey, so I could have type coverage, but I guess this will do. Alright, just keep recovering some health. And as long as... oh, it's just going to keep spamming Tail Whip, which ordinarily would have me nervous, but considering we have the Leech Seed set up and Bulbasaur is slightly stronger, we don't have anything to worry about this first episode. And getting back to what I was talking about before, the plan is, every Thursday I will upload 2 videos in a project that is not the project I'm currently working on. So in this case, it's the Pokemon FireRed Nuzlocke. And then once we get to the next game, it'll be that, and then that, and then that, and it will constantly change so that I have other things going on in my channel that aren't just the one big LP and then Mike and Mark After Dark, because I don't want to be labeled as that guy who just uploads the things. I want to do other things. That's why I'm making sure we do openings at the end of every LP run. We'll do 3 to 5 openings, you know, all that jazz. So yes, this will be every Thursday. We will upload 2 episodes of this, and then the next project, while the other days are going to be focused mostly on, I don't know how to catch Pokemon. I never said I don't know how to catch Pokemon, dude. I literally have a Pidgey. Oh, Weedle. Not a good Pokemon to catch there, old man. In all honesty, that's one of the ones I'm worried about. Getting, like, a Pokemon I have no use for on a route. Or, like, you go up on that route right above, right around the Nugget Bridge, and you want to get an Oddish, but your first encounter's at freaking Abra, and you're like, oh, well, I can't do shit with this. But, whatever. Yeah, I do not want a Weedle. If I could get a Caterpie in the Viridian Forest, I will take that. Either that or Pikachu. Just to get a little bit of type coverage. Also, to basically guarantee the decent chance that I can get Electabuzz on another route, but in the power plant, but at the moment, I don't think that's really that big of a worry. All right, I think that's enough for one episode. I know I want to get through this game as quickly as possible, but honestly, I think we're doing pretty good for ourselves. We got our first 2 Pokemon, our starter, Bulbabutt, and our bird, Yago. And I think next time we'll start trying to catch more Pokemon. I have to go buy more Pokeballs and do all that sort of thing. Oh, by the way, if I am grinding off screen and a Pokemon still faints, yeah, we're keeping it that way. I'm just letting you guys know that. So, like, I'm not going to cheat and say, oh no, the Pidgey fainted fighting an off-screen Metapod or something. Yeah, well, it won't matter. It's gonna still be considered dead. That's the rules. I don't make up the rules. Oh, well. Thank you guys for joining me on the first Throwback Thursday of 2025. I'm your friendly neighborhood NMan64. Join me next time when we catch some more Pokemons and stop being, you know, or start making ourselves potential contenders for the Pokemon League. Until we meet again, my lovelies, sayonara.